the mirror over here. I thought he was gonna use one, but he said since it's 32 feet long, he could use more than one picture.
Enter. Those are something.
Two, and that's usually four.
I don't like this. That's like blurry.
Jackie.
Yes.
Long time no see. You want to sign in over there?
Like a frame, make it look like a frame. He's back.
Repeat offender.
Sign in, Gail.
Did I see you folks this afternoon?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is a blur.
Oh, shoot.
Long day.
Yeah. I fell a couple weeks ago getting out of my motor home. I got a raised deck about this high. And I had to take the handrail off and step out to get my motorhome pulled out for the season. I told my wife, be careful, the handrail's gone and the step is gone. About 10 minutes later, I was pulling a couple bags of garbage that she was throwing away out of the motorhome. I stepped back and guess what?
And you went,
There was no step there.
Right.
And I landed right here.
whoa.
And it cracked my teeth like this. So they went in and done some they put temporary caps on. One broke tonight. I lost part of the tooth. So that tooth's probably not too. Let's just say it was a $4,000 fall.
Right. Oh, dental stuff is.
Yeah, well, it's easy to do that with that kind of injury, yeah.
Mm. I laid there a second, I was stunned just a little bit, broke my glasses. And some friends were coming up in the golf cart and they complained, are you okay? Just, and yeah. Let me get my bearings back.
Right.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Yeah.
I gotta rework that anyhow, because we got this new winter home and I had extended deck out. So it was coming down a little bit like this, and so I gotta put a whole section on this deck next year. Stupid things happen.
I did my share.
Well, my wife, that's her. And you told me I had to be careful. I said, yes, dear.
I moved your chair over. Don't fall.
I'm saying you raised.
Oh, did you put that?
I don't like to sit
Don't bother me at all. Don't bother me at all. I know her.
I carry salt, so if they don't taste good, I just give them a little salt and take another bite. Ellie Jane Tom.
Sorry.
Tomorrow we got training
What's training?
for Commonwealth.
Don't look so excited.
Everybody has to go, it's mandatory, how to dress when you go out to a council meeting.
Oh, really?
Or have a meeting with people in government.
You got a dress code?
No blue jeans, what was it? You're talking about
Oh, I really failed. Don't I? Right.
You think
I
I
was
got
gonna
it?
ask, when are you gonna wash that jacket?
What?
When are you gonna wash that?
Yeah, come on. Will you wash that jacket, Richard? Come on.
Eventually.
Lumberyard.
Well, look at the green one.
That's where the apartments are.
I can't see. Is it green
Oh.
or is it black?
No, it's an old jacket.
Maybe if he washes it, it'll fall apart.
Well,
That could be. That could be.
But I was thinking that's the grocery
I need one that says Etna green.
house, but it was Hamlin's before that. Grocery store.
I, being a BD, this is how I usually dress.
Right.
Khakis and a nice shirt and stuff. I would never drink, just like you're doing today, I would never drink coming down here with blue jeans on, or old blue jeans on, or cut off t-shirt or anything like that. You know, send a
All I have is
good
go back
image.
home.
work clothes and funeral clothes.
So do I have to go home and change?
Oh.
Got holes in my machine.
You paid extra for that.
Oh, shoot. Hey, at least they're buying gloves. That's a good thing.
Actually, they were in the clearance rack, so.
That's what I always look at
Me
first.
too. You can ask him, I've never paid full price for anything.
Oh, no.
I've never been much for dress codes.
But you know, I went for one day. And the nurse took care of me. She said, "Oh, you and I think alike." And I thought, she said, "Look at your shoes." I said, "Yeah." And she said, "What kind are they?" I said, "They're fins." And she said, "I got mine." She said, "Yeah." And I felt big because I should have just said they were off the rack.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I can wear anymore.
Yeah.
I wear what's comfortable with me.
Yeah, I like those kind of shoes.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
What's comfortable with me.
And you know what? I've got a spot on my shirt for supper.
All shirts have logos there.
Yeah, that's right.
Not a spot, it's a logo.
The logo.
We can shut it off, but there isn't anybody gonna contact me, because there's nobody to contact me.
I did. Oh, I know. I put your name. Do you know the doctor? I put your name on way down,
Okay.
because I know they're gonna get hers on. He'll never trust me, but I just thought, clear the tail and the, you know, that way you could ask.
Yeah.
And so Kim can always call if it isn't true, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I finally got it.
I need this.
Going back to the finger sticks again.
I don't think.
Well, I mean, I've done it that
Yeah,
way.
probably.
So I mean, the only good thing is it doesn't wake me up at night because I can sleep through the night. Whereas them things will wake you up. I mean, so.
Hey there. How you doing?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Oh, really? Okay. I see. I couldn't do that with the first stop thing.
Oh, really?
And it's nice. It's right on my phone as far as that. But it doesn't work.
Since I turned it off.
All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we're going to start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we're going to move on to, we've got approval of the previous minutes from October 3rd and October 8th. Did we write them in, or are we going to wait till next week?
That's up to Susan. I don't care what you wanna do.
Let's just do it that way then, just the way it is,
So we're going to sign it the way they are with the
with the,
updates, everything that's been fixed.
and we have to do this one at a time.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the approval of previous minutes for October 3rd to start with.
Okay.
You've got those marked up.
I make a motion, we have to approve them now?
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to approve October 3rd minutes.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's always gotta be that guy.
Way to go, Chris.
You can have this, and if you sign those, then I'll put those in the minutes and we'll
Okay. This one's okay. So you want this one?
It's the one you revised,
Okay.
yes.
Alright.
And then-
Okay, that's what you want to do here.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to the approval of previous minutes for October 8th. And you want the changes on that one, Matthew?
Correction on this one too. Do it that one.
Yes, go ahead and, well, make the motion and then sign it.
I make a motion that we approve with revisions of the meetings of October 8th.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we move on to approval of accounts payable vouchers.
Yes, and that is for the amount of $112,718 even.
I make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we move on to clerk treasurer's business. Oh, no, that's not it.
Rubber stamp.
Okay, and I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that we have 2 applications so far. And then I wanted to make sure that we know that Santa is coming, and that's on December 21st from 1 to 3 at Heritage Park with, I'm sure, being in the fire truck first and going around town. And then do we want to do the lighting contest again this year?
I think everybody likes it.
I think so too. Yeah. All right, so that is going to happen. And I did want you guys to know that we do have some grant money for the park, the Go Forward grant. And that is going to be, gone December 31st. And that's 18,000 for upgrades.
That's just
As
for
you
the park.
remember. Yes, it's just for the park.
Yeah, I wish why didn't we start spending this before?
I mean,
Right.
we've been here a year.
Right. Yeah, that's not the other one though, that's for town stuff. How much is in that one?
That's 32.
That is, well, it's less, I think that there's still, without the telemetry, I believe there's still 13,000 in there. Don't quote me. So that's being used up, but now we don't have anybody using it up, so.
Right, right. Well, Richard got some gravel, so that's what,
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
go in
so
there
that'll-
as far as that goes. How much is in the park fund then?
It was 32,000 and it's down to about 13.
So the park one is 13.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the Go Forward grant is 18,750.
And that's for the park.
Yes.
And
For
then,
the outside upgrades.
but just that park up there, no other parks or anything like that, so we couldn't use it.
Do you remember the Go Forward grant that you guys did
I thought it was just up there.
at Heritage Park?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
And that has to be contracted before January 1st,
Yes.
Correct.
Before, December 31st.
or December 31st. Okay. So we'll get some quotes on that stuff. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it.
all I've got.
Then we move on to ordinances and resolutions. What we have here is the salary ordinance.
Yes, and I did kind of a generic salary ordinance. It does say town labor, and, the wastewater apprentice, street superintendent. If we don't have that, that's fine. I just wanted to kind of leave it in there. But the town labor, water apprentice, we can just take out the water apprentice. He doesn't have to be water apprentice. And, everything else is the same. I bumped up the utility clerk and the mowing custodial, a little bit just to, make sure there's a little bit for raises in there. But that is just up to that amount. That's not the amount that they've got.
Well, some of this stuff coincided with the handbook stuff.
The salary ordinance supersedes anything in the handbook. The salary ordinance, as you remember, gets done every year,
Right.
and that
December.
just supersedes everything in the handbook. The handbook is mainly a guide to what their daily routines and all of that is supposed to be.
Right. But the ordinance also says that only full-time people get benefits.
Yeah, that's it, just full-time.
Yeah.
There is no benefits for part-time, which is, on the second, mowing custodial, utility maintenance, that can be 2 or 3 people.
I'm the one at the second page right at the top.
Second page right at the top, that's for the treasurer.
Right.
What are you saying?
Your job's a part-time job.
No, I get paid by the year. I get paid for the year. I could show up one day and
Right.
get paid for the
But
year.
it's a part-time job.
Okay. But you guys gave me this, in lieu of, a raise last year.
Didn't you get both?
I think the raise was appropriate. I don't know about the health coverage as far as that goes.
You can't take it away now.
Well, it's in the ordinance that only full-time people get
Okay,
benefits. How much is the insurance?
how much is the insurance?
Yours.
1,500.
For what?
Huh?
A month?
For help.
1,500 per month.
Where are we at here on this? I mean, is there a discrepancy as far as that goes, or, I mean,
In terms of the salary ordinance, yeah, we do one of those every year.
Right.
I think normally when those get prepared, they're pretty basic and they just
Right.
list like town council, town employees, and they have the person and then they have what the amount is gonna be budgeted for next year. I'm not used to seeing one that's got other stuff about benefits and
do
whatnot.
you wanna look at this one?
I
mean-
can, yeah.
Or, I mean, we can take and table it until next month, so we all have time to look at it, and you can look at it as far as that goes, and check into some stuff as far as that goes. I don't even know what last year's looks like. I mean, that's something that
It's about the same. The only thing I bumped up was the, mowing custodial and the, utility and the custodian, which is the cleaning lady. And that is, like I said, they're not getting those, they're just, that's to make, room for raises.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's a little more detailed than normal, but I don't see any issues with that.
So what do we do when, about the health and life insurance in here compared to the ordinance?
Which ordinance are you referring to?
You
Like
want
I
me to-
said, this
Oh, this stuff.
supersedes the ordinance.
Well, we can take in and table this until next month. It doesn't take effect until 2025, so we have one more month to take a look at this and actually talk about this. And we still need to have another working meeting. I mean, you know, just like what we have here with, you know, this other money that we got to figure out how to spend that before we lose it. So I mean, we got some stuff to
So
do here.
are you
at the end
saying
of the
you
year.
wanna take away my health insurance?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that, I mean, to go over this
I
as
mean,
far as
if-
that goes,
if
cause
we-
like, we need a town laborer's position, and I don't mind them being very well paid, but like I said, the water apprentice, you know, that's,
That's up to,
that line,
that
but I'm just
25
saying,
is up to 25,
okay,
so
but
that's not
we-
what they're getting now.
Bryce was getting 25, wasn't he?
No, he was getting like,
I thought they upped it from 25.
they were going to when he completed his testing for water, he would be going up to that, but
right,
He
he
was
was
not
in
there
that
yet.
halfway in or something like that, as far as in that one. Well, what do you, I mean, you wanna table it, or you wanna sign it? Alright, so let's, I make a
I'm
motion.
not clear on how this oversees that on this one.
Let's just make a motion to table or I make a motion that we table this,
well, you
until,
have to make a motion.
Not-
Just table it.
just table it as far as that goes, okay, as far as that, so that we can go over this stuff, make these changes like we're talking about as far as that goes. So, we move on to fire and township business. Nobody here. Okay, I guess there's no fire. Okay, we're gonna move on to attorney business. We'll let Nick have the floor. Nick.
Yeah, just, nothing major, there's a few things that are in the works, just, I don't know if you guys have questions about these, but the art mural project, Susie's been talking to me about that.
Okay.
There's a memorandum of understanding that we're in the process of drafting for that, but that's something that's in the works. The easements for the utilities, those I think are in the works as well. And then, I sent out an email to the council about the new law that's already been passed and that takes effect in, I believe it's July 1st of 2025, about the recording of meetings and the archiving of
Right.
meetings. And I think the council's already doing everything it needs to be doing with that. So that was something for you to be aware of, but it sounds like that's already been taken care of.
Okay. How is it with the easements? Cause I had a phone call on that today, so.
The walls, they're represented by an attorney and their attorney's been communicating with me about it. I sent her essentially the breakdown on what the value of the easement would be from MDOT.
Right.
So I sent that to her, she has that, since I sent that to her, I haven't heard anything back from her yet. For Gulfstream, I hadn't heard anything from the head of maintenance since I left him that voicemail.
He called me today and the owner hasn't said anything to him as far as that goes, and the owner's gonna be out of the country here for the end of the year, so he was gonna try and get a hold of him and try and move forward on that,
Yeah,
so.
and I did call him again today, and this time he picked up the phone and I
Oh,
talked
you
to him.
get him? Okay.
Yeah, and he told me the same stuff that
Okay,
you got to say. So, yeah, still waiting on that one as well,
okay.
Yep. but that's all I've got.
Okay, that's the end of that. We'll move on to new business. Got Dave Price on here first, as far as that goes. Or no, Rick Price.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't do it. You wrong brother. Okay, I didn't do that.
I've only known you all my life,
Wrong brother, same mother.
I wrote this down. It's just, I'd like to express my opinion as a town citizen and kind of address the elephant that's been in the room for many of these meetings here. And I'm going to read this because I wouldn't be able to remember it if I didn't. I see a divide in the people that sit at this table almost every meeting, and as do other people, between the old board and employees and the new board, and between the way it's been done and looking at new ways of doing things. That's natural, and it's something all businesses and organizations face every day. And neither of those ways are inherently right or wrong. And those sitting here who have served for a while are a wealth of information as to how things were done and what actions were taken, and they should be listened to, I believe. But it doesn't make you always right. And with those with the new ideas and procedures to change with current conditions should also be listened to, but it also doesn't mean that you're all right. I would be hesitant to find fault with any past employees or boards. I would be hesitant to find fault, and I would advise you to also be hesitant and would rather choose to believe that they did the best they knew how at the time. And I'm sure they made mistakes because we all make mistakes. I grew up in this town, and I raised a large family in this town and have lived here nearly 70 years. When I was younger, this town had 3 restaurants, 2 to 3 gas stations, a motel, a pub, 2 implement dealers, 3 churches, a grade school and a high school, a Ford dealership, a laundromat, 3 grocery stores, a grain elevator, a bank, a post office, a hardware store, a barber shop, a bait store, a town marshal, a fire department, and a lumber yard, and I'm probably forgetting other things that were here at that time.
White's Mobile.
Yeah, well, that's one of the gas stations. A good share of these things no longer exist. And as this town has gone the way of many small towns in Indiana and the country, people don't shop in small towns anymore, or they seek their recreation there. And we are like many other small towns who may have to change the way we do some things, ways that worked in the past. The hard part is how and what. Many towns have farmed out some of their utility service or otherwise changed how they serve their citizens. That doesn't make them evil. They did what made sense to them. Nor does it mean that we should adopt those same changes. But as a town, we should constantly be evaluating the cost and benefit in our own operating procedure. I have been told by different people that this way is cheaper and better, or that this way is cheaper and better. But I have seen no perspective put on paper to back up any claims. I was a business accounting major in school. That was a long time ago, but I think we also, as all businesses do, should seek a cost-benefit comparison on paper for all to see. How else will we know? Either way, it cannot be denied that the town is changing, and we have to be willing to change with that in the way we do things and what makes sense now. My fellow at Greenites sitting at this table, constantly fighting each other is not helpful. Criticizing each other behind their backs and in hidden conversations is destructive. I urge you to find a way to work together, because none of you, or us for that matter, are ever completely right. I urge you all to listen to each other and the citizens and try to find the best way forward for this town in this time. Proverbs says, "In abundance of counsel is great wisdom." It doesn't mean you will always agree or be unanimous, but at least listen to each other and try to come to agreement, because no one is completely right all the time. And to my fellow citizens, I would urge us all to talk to your town board member in person, not behind their backs or on social media, and give your best advice instead of waiting for them to screw up so that you can pounce on them with criticism like some armchair quarterback. It doesn't mean they will always do it your way, but at least they'll know what the people want. Of this I'm quite sure. Whether elected or appointed, the people sitting at this table had the courage and desire to serve and put their names in the ring, knowing that by taking that action alone, they put a target on their backs. For everyone with an axe to grind, ladies and gentlemen, you have my respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick, well said.
Alright, thanks, Rick. Put a lot of time into that and thought about it.
Huh?
I said you put a lot of time in that and you thought about it.
You should before you speak.
Right. We're gonna move on to Amy Rowe.
How you gonna pop that?
I'm not even gonna try to top that. That was a weird, well thought out conversation.
I got I'm here for you. I put it all in there.
So I am here. I am attempting to support Etna Green in moving forward one project that was brought up during the HELP program. I think having something positive and exciting to look at and to move forward would be helpful for the community, something that we can rally around. Related to what he was speaking about, sometimes a shared project is something that can bring people together and, you know, help in all situations. So we are looking at a mural project. The location that was chosen after much conversation, because we've been working on this for a very long time, which is part of my joy, because that's what I do, is Justin was saying today, he said, well, how do you keep doing the thing? And I said, well, that's just what community work is. You talk about it and talk about it until everyone's comfortable enough, right? And you just do the thing. So after much conversation, we have decided the post office side of the building would be the best, because that is the most visible location and the location that is readily available by the owner of the building, and the safest for us to have a celebration with kids, because we want to invite the kids. So some of the other locations we didn't feel like would make the most sense. So what the MOU that Nick is talking about is from a safety perspective related to doing things legally. It is in the town's best interest to have an MOU with the property owner, just to make sure that clear expectations are out there as to allowing us the opportunity to access that building, to do the thing we're going to do, and make sure that the town is held harmless, and that the property owner is going to not touch that once it's done. So Susie Light has provided an MOU, of which was a template Nick and Susie have been working on to talk about that. So I don't know if you've come up with anything yet that makes sense.
Yeah, I put a rough draft together earlier today and I emailed that to Susie, but this is within the last couple hours.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, we don't have to do anything like at the moment, but just to know that that's moving forward, to be able to discuss that, because I think that's one of the important parts. The other piece that we discussed was looking at different options, and the quotes, which I'm gonna not print out, but I've got some papers here. So funding is interesting, right? So we're looking at the best possible way to do this that's easiest, because government funding is a pain in the butt, Chris knows. And if, you know, it's like, what is the, you know, easiest way to get this funded without putting too much time and pain on the town of Etna Green. So one of the things that Josh Hartzell over here at Hartzell Feed and Seed has offered is he has this lovely, I have a copy of it here somewhere. Oh, it's right there. He has this lovely, you guys probably seen this, the Hartzell Farm Quarterly. You guys seen that? Super interesting. He did that as like a benefit to his customers and to the community. So one of the things he had said is if we had a sponsorship level that we could potentially put out there, which I got copies for everybody, and obviously this can change, but if we wanted to start with the easiest, lowest hanging fruit, and then I'll give that to Nick if you need to see that from a legal standpoint. But if we're looking at, we've already got $1,500 that Susie Light has gotten from somebody who agreed to put seed money into this project for Etna Green. They are still on the hook for that. But then if we put this in his nice newsletter in December, and we put this out there, he said there are a lot of Amish folks and other individuals, companies that really love to get their name out. So if we shake some of those low-hanging fruit trees to see if there's some additional money that we can get in December, then we would know where the gap is based on the full price of the project. And then there are other granting opportunities, one that falls in January, one that falls to the fall of January, and then one that falls in February. The February one I want to try to avoid because it is a grant that has a little bit more reporting, and I just think if we can avoid that, if we can get the money for the project up front, then we can do it easier. So that's kind of some of those funding opportunities there. This is, I don't think you've seen that, but that was the meeting that we met with, Great Brian. So to make it an easier mural, we are avoiding painting on the building because that is permanent. A lot of people are uncomfortable with that. So the case was made that there could be this different version of a mural that is more mobile. So if something were to happen to the building, or if something were to happen that we wanted to move it, there are some panels that can be put on the building that are panels worthy of a mural. And I can't remember the dimensions, but it would cover a large amount of that, so it would be viewable from people driving by. So that's what you want people to drive by, and they've got a mural over here, they've got a mural here, and so it would be panels. I think that they're metal panels out from the wall because the electrical outlets are needed to be used for, I think, Christmas decorations.
He's out
They
there.
were decorating today.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever the decorator person is, okay, we're not touching we're not touching your things. So the mural, the metal will go around that, so it will definitely be accessible. And so the mural artist will make sure that they, you know, they might be painted,
Yeah, that's fine.
but they will be accessible for you to use because that's important for making sure that happens. So so there's that, and then I don't have the other one. I tell you, internet access is important tonight. I've been out of the internet for 2 weeks. Today I had to go to the county government just to get these printed. So
Just
downtown.
question: if it's going to be offset away from the building, is it going to be backflashed all the way up against the building so there's no possibility of getting birds behind it?
yes, Eric said all the things. He's
Yeah.
he's thinking about water. He's thinking about all
Okay.
yeah. He's got a pocket. I mean, he's got the whole. I mean, he gave us a whole monologue of all the things that yeah, everything. Yeah, so it's there away from the building to make make that access point possible, but then taking into consideration the things that you're speaking about to ensure that it's not the water's not going to get to it, all the other things. So yeah, no, you are correct. So you have seen, you have not seen, but you've seen the quote from Eric. This is the quote. I'm sorry, I didn't have that to be able to print because of the internet, but this is the quote.
So you need this back?
No, these are yours. I have an email once the printer starts working again. So take that too. But I copy that. So Justin is a community member that grew up here, and he is from Etna Green and a very passionate Etna Green lover. He is super excited about this project. Came about because he had heard about all the things happening. He does live in Indianapolis. Susie knows his family. He has been here to check this out. He is very excited. He is discounting his services because he is from Etna Green, which I think is really neat. And that hometown kind of connection, I think, is really neat to be able to have that as a story. Obviously, Etna Green we need some good news. So we're gonna, make this. We're gonna put it out there. We're gonna invite the media and all the things, and it will be a neat little story. And he's got some good influence in other places. So he has discounted his service. I think it was at $6,500, and the average mural costs like $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000. So he's discounting it quite a bit because he loves this community and wants to make sure it happens. And he's also stayed in it to win it, which is not normal. Most people would lose interest after a year of talking about a project. And he said today, I was surprised that I was in it this long. I've never had a project that has lasted this long, but he said, I just really need to see this story end. I want to do the thing, and I'm really excited to get to the punchline. So, and the punchline looks like this. So we have two different pictures. So what he said, it is difficult to recreate. So we wanted to do this fancy recreation, which he said could be done. But what he's suggesting is taking, because the space is so large that we can actually put multiple pictures.
Right.
What the concept that he is proposing, and this didn't do it justice because he didn't have time to do all of that, is that these two pictures, he would do it like a postcard. So he's like, I wish I could have done that, but he said I didn't have the time to be able to get that done because he's got a new babe and all the things. But so instead of that, imagine, and you've seen them, like postcard-like sepia or black and white, like, so it looks like an old time picture.
Right.
And it's like either sepia or monotone. And it's two pictures because you can fit either two pictures or, you know, he basically put every single picture. He said if they want the two pictures or if they want, you know, the two big pictures they gave me plus the two small pictures, he said whatever works. But he said what he would like to do is he would like to make it so that the pictures have kind of some sort of border, so it looks like a postcard where people could come and they can stop and they can take a picture, and the only thing that would be in color would be Etna green. So you've probably seen those other places, but it's kind of a fun thing. It would be something that the tourism industry, state tourism office, and others would, you know, love to have on their catalog of activity. And so whether it's the two pictures with the two borders with Etna green in the middle of it or Etna green on both sides, he said he doesn't care. He just wanted to kind of see, to get like a understanding of what that looks like. But it would be either sepia or the monotone to honor that old time feel. And so he said it would be super cool if there was any postcards that were somewhere in Etna green that somebody had like a postcard. He said if there was like something that had maybe type set that would have been historical for Etna green that they had used, and he said I would love to see that, and then I could add that typeset to the picture, and the color, you know, the colored Etna green words would be in the typeset of whatever postcard that potentially. He was kind of geeking out on the phone, if I'm allowed to be honest. Like, he was so excited. I talked to him earlier. He's like, he said, I feel like they're going to hate it because it doesn't give a good rendition. So let's talk through what I'm trying to communicate. We talked about 30 minutes about this, and so he just wants to know whether you're thinking like two picture postcards that would be there, or you know, the two bigger ones with the two smaller ones. He preferably, yeah, he preferably kind of likes the two. These right here was the one that there was a scene of the, now just avoid some of this, it wouldn't be, it's just pictures and then there's some lights in there. But one scene is like kind of this train station going, it's like a train going in and then it goes to the downtown. So it's like two separate, but it's like one that honors the train station. And it would like, think of it as a postcard kind of feel. Yeah, and then the one would be the downtown. So there'd be either the two separate pictures, one honoring the train that you know, that train and then one honoring the downtown. Or those two that are on the outside with two pictures in the middle, one being the gas station, and then the other being, I think, and I forgot what the topic was, a gentleman who was at the depot. So, but think of it like, if you can imagine it being like postcard-ish with fun, like black and white. So you're looking at history on a wall as you drive by, the history of Etna green, but then with this modern color that would be the name. And then he talked about potentially putting up the name high enough or whatever so that people could come, and you've seen it, like people go and they take silly pictures, but that gets people to Etna green and gets that on the mark, on the, you know, tourism side and some other things. The county tourism woman is helping us. She's put the sponsor thing together. So it gets more traffic to drive through. And so maybe some of these things that you were talking about could be possible because people start coming more often intentionally to Etna green for something that's neat. So it may seem fluffy and foo-foo, but that is the stuff that people like, and that's the stuff that makes people start realizing that there's, you know, a different way of handling things in Etna green. So, and it would be a neat opportunity. We talked about having a nice celebration like we did for the health program, in which we would have tents in the park, and we would invite the kids to come. We'd probably do it during the summer, invite the kids. They could paint a little bit on there, because I know we were talking at the meeting, when I was a young girl in the 90s, I didn't do anything too exciting, but I did hammer a couple of nails on the Manitol Mountain in Rochester, Indiana at the city park, and I forever remembered that because I felt like I had a part of history. So the kids could be involved, and you want those kids to fall in love with Etna green. You want them to have a positive experience. We bring food, and it would be just a nice way to bring people together. So this is what we've got. I think that we just kind of have to look at from a perspective, if we're gonna get the sponsorship thing, we need to get that done because that needs, I think he said that he needs that by, mid-November, which it is mid-November. So,
Right.
to be able to get in his December issue. So the sponsorship level, I think we just need to make sure that whatever is said there, that that's actually something we can do. I can't remember what he said, what she put on there, but it was like, let's see, things like, large logo and optimal placement on all advertising, spotlight on the monthly newsletter, name on the dedication plaque, you know, those kinds of things. Logo on Etna Green Town website, which I'm not sure if that's possible or not.
I think we can.
Okay, logo on Etna Green Town social media, which we don't really have like a town focus, do we? Like social
We
media?
have an Etna Green page.
Okay, so I just think we need to make sure that we can actually do all the things that this says, and if so, then I can get this to, that will be our first step, is to get that to, Josh by the end of the week, if at all possible. I know. He gave me a little bit of an impossible.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Since I own the building.
Yes. Oh, are you the owner of the building?
Yes.
Oh, I like it. Hi. I've heard a lot about you. Hi, baby. Nice to meet you.
Is there gonna be like a written contract if any damage is done?
You missed that like right before we walked in.
Okay.
So there is an MOU that you and the town would sign, and so whatever, Nick is working on that. So that's something that's like helpful to you, but also helpful to the city or the town. So there is something that's obviously good practice just to make sure you're covered, and then they're covered as well.
And then I heard you say spotlight, and then I was thinking, is it gonna be lit up? Do I have to pay for that electrical?
It's not lit up, no. If I said spotlight, it was probably like spotlight meaning like highlighted in some, not like,
it's not gonna
yeah,
be lit up.
there will be no lights unless people put lights on
That's
it, so,
connected to my.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, so we will not disturb your sleep.
Well, or on my electric bill, one of the two.
Yeah, we will not disturb.
You don't want that on your list.
No, I don't.
So, yeah, so the MOU is that's a common practice, just to make sure that you're
I
protected.
didn't know if
and
it's part of like the grant that you applied for.
No, this would be something that we would make sure that we got that well before we applied for grants, because that's probably gonna be something that the grant agencies would want to make sure that that was in place, because that's a legal document to protect you, protect the town, and then, yeah, so. But I think if we can maybe decide kind of what version of the postcard thing that we wanna do, or if he's in the right direction, so he can put some more time and effort into that, and maybe put that out there as far as like shaking some low-hanging fruit trees to see if we can get any more funding. That might help us, if we're comfortable with that. If you're comfortable with that, and you're comfortable with that, just to like do some of those minimal things, and that gives us a better platform to understand, you know, once January hits, because we've got the tourism commission from the county to ask money of. We've got All Things Art, which is Susie Light's agency that she does, which is $1,000. And then there are other opportunities, but we'll know more of what that funding gap needs to be filled. So I don't know what everybody's thinking, but that's kind of, we've done a lot of work, a lot of conversation, a lot of communication related to it, and I think that it's moving in a really positive direction. That could be really neat summer celebration. To celebrate all things that are great about Etna Green and the history that has been here for a long time. Bring some people together and feed them. Everybody likes food. So.
Okay.
So. You are you good with this one second?
So, yeah, I mean.
Like, do you want to look at it and make sure, and then you can.
And I've looked at it already. I don't see anything on there that's problematic from a legal standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am good to, and you're fine with it if I go and have Josh put that in that thing? There's no, yeah. Because I think it says on the back side, it says, I just want to make sure, because I saw this, if paying by check, please make your checks payable to the town of Etna Green. So I thought, well, probably should know that. Oh, yeah.
That might not be good,
Yeah,
because that means we'd
yeah.
have to, no, that can be.
That's what I'm saying. I saw that.
That is a
so-
legal thing right there as far as that, because then we'd have to claim that as income.
Right.
So it's
So we
gonna
just
have
need
to,
figure out where the money would need to go to, and I think that was the question that.
we need to start an Etna Green art mural fund of some sort. so that the money's.
That's still money coming in.
I know, but I mean for just the fund, not
You
for
can
the
put
town.
my bank account.
Well, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's the one that Amy, you're gonna have to work on. How do we do that
Yeah.
legally, or Nick, you give her some advice.
That's a good
I mean, I know that there's a nonprofit for Etna Green. That
It's a nonprofit.
there is a nonprofit, and I know that I am meeting with Jason with the Community Foundation. So that
So that could happen.
So if that, I mean, if that is a possibility, that would cover for purposes of grants. I just think we just need to all be on the same page to make sure that that's like a thing that we're willing to do. But I am meeting with the Community Foundation and with Jason to talk about the nonprofit, so I can more fully understand. He reached out to me about the nonprofit, and so if that's how we want to handle that, that's the only thing I was concerned about. You know, obviously the legality of the words, but also where is the money coming into, because that's going to be important to know as well. So
Yeah, the nonprofit's a good idea. I do know if people are doing that, he's probably gonna have to be prepared to give them like a tax document to prove that they made a contribution, but that isn't all that difficult to do.
yeah, and I don't mind reaching out to him and asking him that if the town board is comfortable with that, you know, just to say, hey, is this something, because he was part of that process prior with the help stuff, and so that just kind of makes sense, because it would be difficult for the town, because you'd have to have an ordinance or a fund, you'd have to have like all the things, and it's like why I don't run anything through the county government, because it's a nightmare. Don't you write that? That's off the record. Off the record. Do not quote me on that. So, but it is a lot
There's
more.
a video camera right over there.
Don't you quote me on that. So, but it is. I mean, I'm just being fair. It's more difficult to navigate, and it's just is what it is. County government is not meant to run the same way as a nonprofit, and so we all know that there are different purposes. But we just need to think through that. So that's the one thing I was concerned about, besides the verbiage, but also where the money is going to come. If Josh is going to put this in there by December, we need to make sure that we're safe on that. So I think that, obviously working with this young lady in the MOU and then making the final decision on that, drawing would help to get that done by probably December or January at the latest. So what would you like my marching orders to be? Would you like me to talk to Jason and ask him about potentially using that nonprofit to,
I think that's a good idea.
and then we can kind of look at that and see and make sure that, because if he's meeting with the Community Foundation, then he's, you know, basically what I understand is trying to get all the ducks in a row to make sure that the legalities of everything are fine, and then we can have that as a base covered as well. So I think that's it. So that will be my marching orders, and then if you guys can let me know on that, so that Justin, I told him if I have any feedback, because he is literally like so excited that he told me to call him. He has a date with his 3-year-old daughter, but he said if they have any strong feelings, hate or love, just to let him know, because he is curious to understand. So, that's so. Any other final thoughts that you have for me? Things that I said that you want to argue with?
Yeah.
You're welcome to. Perfect. Well, I'm excited to see what we can do. So,
All right. Thank you for all that information.
we've been working hard since we talked last.
Right.
I've been beating the trees trying to get it done.
Okay, then we are gonna move on to, we've got Commonwealth here tonight, as far as that goes.
Yeah, you wanna give a update on the income survey?
We met today with the MACON representatives here, and Patty and Keith and I met with them, and we're moving forward. The approval was given to do the income survey, and there'll be a selected number of people who will get letters asking them to respond to 2 questions on that. And it's very, I don't want to say it's secretive, but you don't give any pertinent information out except for how many people live in your home and how much income you have. And then there's a code that goes on it that only certain people see. So if they come to you and ask, if you get one of these, then you can say how many people live in your house and what your income level is. And that's all they have to know.
It's not, they don't even ask for the actual number. It's one number, you check a box. If you make under 40, 50,000, and then there's another box. There's nothing tied to it that goes back to your name.
Right.
You just become a number is all it is, and it's just basically like you're voting nonchalantly as far as that goes.
So this is the first step in trying to get this planning grant through Okra to help with the utility survey for the town. And then we'll take that information and hopefully move it into some type of construction grant or loan to help get the necessities of the utilities repaired.
Is that primarily for the sewage plant?
They have to do all the utilities, but I think there is need in both the sewer and the water.
Yeah, that's fine.
There is.
Yeah.
Just one.
And they'll also look at your stormwater as well. There's some flooding issues here. Typically, when you do a planning grant with Okra, it covers all 3 utilities. Now, right now, the town does not have a stormwater utility, so it may have to be created.
No, that's down at the bottom of the hill.
Not down bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
Or behind
But
East.
with that,
From Railroad Street all the way over there.
the rate has increased up to $750,000 for a construction project. But this is a process to get the town situated. We looked at the community as a whole. We needed to do an income survey to get qualified. Okra feels like that justified. We feel like you're going to get that. It's real important that if you do receive those, a survey, please fill it out appropriately. Okay? And then the second thing is that plan grant, and that looks at a 20-year picture for the utilities within the town, both water, wastewater, and stormwater. And we need accurate, thorough information before we can also go for matching grant funds for that Okra. So it's a big deal.
Will those forms come in the mail to just certain citizens? Is that how?
We talked about
questionnaire-
mail. Yeah,
And it's only a certain people. Not everyone will get one.
like 35 people.
But they'll get that in the mail.
That's what we're trying to work
Yes,
on.
Okay.
that's working through
Because
that
if
now.
it's going to be in the mail, then the town really needs to be notified big time that they're going to get that, or people will just throw it away.
And we talked about communications today. It's important to get the word out
Right.
to the residents that some people will be getting this, and they need to fill it out and back in up here to Patty, and then we can take it and run with it from there.
Yeah, that just needs to be explained if that's the way you're gonna do it.
Communications is vital in making this work.
And the other there are 2 other Kosciuszko County towns that had to do that, the income survey as well. And it's a random sample. So people got a little upset because they felt a little, what's the right word, like targeted, but Okra does a random sample.
Right.
It's just a random sample of people that get the letter because of some formula that's in an Excel spreadsheet, and they try to do the letters first because it's easier for everybody instead of people coming all the way from Mishawaka to,
Right.
I mean, they will come down, they don't want to, but they did in Mentone, some people did not answer it, so they had to drive around on a golf cart. They did the same thing in Pearson, they had to drive around on a golf cart. But they prefer the letter because the letter is easier and
Right.
faster, and it helps the project
Less
move forward.
man intensive.
We had some verbiage that needed to be cleaned up, and they're doing that tomorrow, and these letters will be going out Monday.
Okay.
So, if you can help us on that, getting the word out. Patty, you was gonna do something on your, whatever you call that. Yeah.
So the big
And,
ones.
and then I think it's important too, if you know of any issues in the town with water and sewer and even storm, that you note that and get a copy to the board or council here so it can be put into the application. You know, that would make a big difference when it comes to applying for the grant and stuff.
Pictures.
Pictures. If
Any-
you see
any
water
flooding
laying
pictures?
around,
Okay.
snap a picture. But, you know.
Sewer blowing out of a manhole, take a picture. Really-
They
used to right
We almost
down
had
in
that
his
last
mom
week.
and dad's backyard.
I'll be honest with you,
Used to have
I
price
am
lights over
saying
there.
it because
Okay, no.
the next step
News
of the
out.
grant is we need residential letters, we need support, anything we can document that is a health and safety issue.
They're very old.
We're going to this community at this point, right?
And that's how Pearson got their sidewalk money, because they took pictures of the sidewalks cracked and all of it. So.
Document, really will help in that process.
Okay, I met with Richard here a week and a half ago. Was it Richard?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things, Richard and I went out with some of the locate equipment. I did reach out with American Water. They would like to send Jason Holland up here, who has the same equipment that you have, and work with Richard for a couple hours. We just need to get it scheduled. Richard, I have your number.
Yes.
Okay, it's all good on that end. And let's see, the sanitary survey, I got the information over to Brady. We're just waiting for some further information from him.
Okay.
That's on the water.
Yes.
Oh, as far as for the IDM violations?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else you need from us?
No, not right at the moment. I mean, we do have the pump down as far as that goes, so that is something that we need to address here immediately as far as that goes.
Okay, with water pump, have you contacted Peerless or what?
We're trying. So we tried 3 times today. So the town's running on one pump
tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll call them tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, let me know.
Okay.
Before Kathy.
That's what I was gonna do, is call Kathy.
Okay.
And then we did have one contractor came out and looked at the decking out there at the sewer plant, as far as, you know, the bad section that we got going on out there. So I don't know. You haven't heard from the other one. Yes, so we do. Right, so we are getting one quote as far as that, to have that repaired, to make that safer out there as far as that goes. And I actually did a walkthrough last week with Richard, and we went over some other stuff that needs to be addressed.
So just to let you know, on the good side of things, I will be attending your board meetings on a regular basis. Your council.
Well, I know, we're happy. You're always happy. Yeah, and start bringing some snacks. Even though we're both, all 3 of us here are diabetic, so yeah, we're not anything sweet.
We don't do
that. So is that anything else, Chris? You want to go over?
Just falling back to the Oprah, the income survey, the planning study, and the construction grant. It is a process for taking the first steps. And with that, we're going to support the community as best we can on working through those processes, staging you accordingly. I am an Oprah grant administrator, and Commonwealth has several Oprah grant administrators, although we're not the grant administrators, but we know the process. We're going to stage you as best we can to get you funded.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And thank you for putting together the training.
You gotta know how to use the equipment, and training is the only way to do it.
I wanna learn.
Have you guys done then?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the old business now. Something I need to bring up that was in the Ashbury report here is we still need to send a letter to the cafe as far as that we need to get a grease trap installed down there. As far as that, so we need to take care of that, because there's still, I mean, he sent me a picture today of the grease buildup just in that manhole down there, as far as that goes. So we're spending quite a bit of money on degreaser every month as far as that goes, to take all that grease and stuff out of the water, out of the wastewater plant, as far as that. So we definitely need to get, you know, a town letterhead letter sent out to them to take care of that, so that we can move forward with that. So I have that one, and then I don't know if we have any other old business that we need to go over as far as, you know,
I'm just gonna read this. I think I asked a couple meetings ago. I think you said Marcus was on Asbury.
Oh, we
I asked
have-
if there was any other towns.
Oh, there's a bunch that are on, yeah,
I
as far as that.
contacted Indianapolis office. I talked to Carla down there. Just off the top of her head, she gave me this list of towns that use Asbury for either water, wastewater, you know, whatever. Argus that you mentioned.
Right.
Elkhart, of course, Etna Green, Kiwanis, Coons Lake, Mentone, and she said Milford was just new with them.
New Paris.
So they're used. Yeah, I got New Paris here. And then she said St. Joe Wyatt. I think there must be 2 Wyatts in Indiana. So this is the one in St. Joe County. Then she said there's 2 state parks, Tippecanoe River State Park and Potato Creek, Tippecanoe, Chapman Lakes, and Winona Lake. They're all using Asbury. So I just Want to let everybody know that we're not the only ones using Asbury.
They're a well-known company.
Right.
Just a bit of information.
Alright. We'll move forward. We have any employee comments from Richard?
Well, one comment that I'd like to make is the town utility vehicle, the mule, that thing's a worn out piece of junk, and it would be wonderful if there could be some kind of replacement for that. And I know there's many different opinions on that vehicle.
Well, we gotta work with all of them for right now until we get the money around so that we can move
Yes.
forward. So
Well, I would just like
put
to,
that on your wish list.
yes,
Where that's
exactly,
on
wish
your wish
list.
list. Okay. Ask Santa. Yeah, the truck's gonna be up there. So
Did the brakes ever get fixed on that snowplow truck?
yes, he did. Did you get the snowplow on last week too?
Both snow plows are on the
You
dump
got
truck
one bolt?
and on the flatbed truck.
And the flatbed. Okay.
And as far as the brakes that he asked about, I didn't know there was an issue with the brakes.
I think it got took out.
Somebody
to
had
Watkins.
said about the brakes were bad on the one.
I think it was taken to Watkins last time I talked to Brian about that.
Okay, this was a
Or
while
it
back.
Was that taken? Yes, it was taken up to Watkins and repaired.
Yeah, Watkins did some repairs on the truck and put 2 new batteries in the flatbed. The only thing that needs to be done to the flatbed, as far as I know, to get it ready for winter is to put the salt spreader
box
on.
and I'm gonna try and help you with that. So
And that still has a steering issue. When you're going down the road, it will wander one way or the other.
well, there's a Ford, so
I'm not knocking the Ford, I'm
just
not
kidding.
knocking any one of them, because I've driven them all. I just know that if you drive that truck at above 45,
well, let's keep that
It's
truck in
sketchy.
town. Let's keep that truck in
Yes,
town.
that is
Drive
what I
the
have
other
done.
one to go to Warsaw. So you've got 2 other ones.
that is what I have done.
You got your little electric scooter. I mean, if you wanted to ride it too. So
I have been.
you have been. I know. All right, we move to council comments. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that we have a new Facebook page. So you can get on that. It's the town of Etna Green, not Etna Green Town. I'm trying to delete that one. Not having any luck. But it's just the town of Etna Green. And all the town business should be done on that. You know, we can have that for announcements, events, trash schedules. You know, we can put anything on there.
Is
I
that,
think Patty, Phil set you up for access for that. So if you wanna put events or anything like Santa, you know, at the park, you might try putting that on there.
Okay.
You should be able to have access to that.
Did you ask Sig about that legislation I was telling you about related to there was this thing from social media for AIM. We did a training, related to social media and small communities and some legalities to make sure that, it's done correctly. You may wanna look that up because I was talking to Susie when she came in for the indoor fitness, that, town business needs to be on the town town social media page, and then anything else can be on anybody else's page. But there's like new legislation that the state of Indiana implemented related to legalities of all the things. So I don't know where it's at. Susie said she had seen it, but it's like a big hot topic, including like this recording. So they're doing some like, you know, hard lines in the sand on certain ways that things are done. Yeah, so I don't know where that is, but you may wanna look that up because there's rules and regulations related to how communities are using their social media effectively and things that should and shouldn't be on there.
Right.
And it should be open to the public also. as
Yeah,
far
you
as
can't
that.
delete any
Can't
comments,
delete
like
things,
there's a
it
lot
can't
of,
be private as far
yeah,
as that
there's a lot
goes.
of things that that like they said from a legality standpoint related to the new legislation. Like I said, I don't have it with me, but it was something that I was mentioning, but it is a new thing that basically people can get themselves in a lot of trouble in towns related to the social media, which is a beautiful thing when used correctly. So there's a lot of, so you may wanna look at that just
Yeah,
so
I'm
that
familiar with that.
Patty can, all of us can keep ourselves,
Yeah,
whoever's using it for the town, that they don't get themselves sued.
is that the town of Etna Green in capitals, all capitals? I mean, each
It'll come
word,
up, town of Etna Green.
each word capitalized
Town
out?
of Etna Green.
Just town of Etna Green.
Cause there's a a
Don't
whole
look at
bunch
the
of sites.
Etna Green Town one.
Uh,
It looks similar.
It's similar to the Etna Green Town, but it's
I'm gonna
the
delete
town
that
of
one.
Etna Green.
Town of Etna Green.
So we,
Well,
if we
town.
put something on there, we won't be deleted just because we,
As long as it's not slander or
no,
dirty words.
I
or anything
understand,
like
but
that.
anything, okay.
Well,
That's,
even,
that's
yeah,
good.
even that, you can't delete any comments, like,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, so that no comments can be, you either, what the suggestion related to it was either, if you feel like it's gonna be a problem, you as a town can, basically turn off comments, which is not highly advised.
Right, because
But-
everybody has an opinion and.
But you cannot delete any comments because that's where the legality situation gets in, is that any comment that is put on an official town social media page there's like this whole set of rules that are related to that. Like if
Can't
it's a
be
personal
blocked off
page,
or deleted because you don't like what's being said.
yes, it's like a freedom of information, all those things. You just wanna make sure that everybody knows what the rules of engagement are, so.
Right.
As long as everybody's on the same page and it's, on or off, the comments on or off, but it can't be like, yeah, so. But Susie and I had that brief conversation, cause she had mentioned that, and I said, I just went to a training, cause I'm on the city council for Rochester, so I know that.
Now, this Facebook page has been set up with a YouTube channel. I know you've got one, but Phil went ahead and set a YouTube channel up. And now he can set that up with a link to the town's board meetings. And that can either be through the town, through Phil's YouTube channel, or we can download the meetings on yours and put it on there too. I'm not sure on the technicality, but Phil can work that out. But he did ask me to find out your YouTube channel, who controls it?
It's Etna Green.
Okay, but who controls it and maintains it? Did you set it up or did somebody else?
Yeah, there's no maintaining, I just put meetings in it.
Okay, so you did all that.
There's nothing else that goes on there, just the
You,
meetings.
does anybody else have any access to it? Just you?
No, just
Okay. Because that's what he was concerned about, if he would leave or the next clerk treasurer to come in would have access to it, that type of thing.
well, she or he would have to have access to
Yeah.
it, but right now it's just me.
Okay. Since he's got a YouTube channel already out there, we might maybe see how he can link that right into. I'll talk to him. He did suggest on the ones you're putting out there now, to add the year onto it. At least it doesn't show up, cause then if somebody goes back, they know what year
Yeah, that's a good idea.
it is, so, okay, that's all I have.
The only other council comments I have as far as that goes is that we did have, Brian resign as far as that, so he's no longer with the town of Etna Green. We are in the process of looking for, some new help, and as far as for the town, there is some ads out there. I really think we need to put it in Indeed or whatever if we don't get any apps in here real soon as far as that goes, that we need some qualified people.
Indeed is $300 a month.
Well, this is a full-time position for the town of Etna Green. It's an important position, so I mean, we need to
I
do
mean,
something.
we've got, if you noticed the last time I put on Indeed, everybody's far out of town.
Well,
and-
we gotta try as far as that goes. I mean, as far as looking to see what we can come up with as far as that. So, I mean, I just really think that's important as far as that goes. With losing somebody we need somebody with experience, mechanical experience, as far as that. So that's something that needs to be addressed as far as that goes. We need to do the best we can as far as for looking for that position. The only other thing I had too is that Keith Lawson's not here. He had do you know more about that than?
He is in the hospital right now,
Okay,
and
so-
he's resting peacefully, and he will he may not be back. I know he won't be here for the executive meeting, but he will be here for the next meeting.
And then I guess we'll move on. Does anybody here have any comments? Or I see we got a lot of people sitting out here.
I do.
Okay.
And it may sound, I don't want to sound petty or babyish or anything, and I know Susie, I talked to her, she feels the same, but, with there not being a leaf pickup, it is, for some reason, in my house, like, all the leaves just come down the alleys, up the streets, and they just like pile right in front of my house, and they're probably this deep, and I don't have a yard to burn them in. I don't even own a tree. Like, you're not, I think legally, I believe you're not, because I think my husband looked it up, you're not legally allowed to just put them in the dumpster. So I don't know what to do, and I keep spreading them, hoping they'll dry out and blow away.
Right.
Finally tonight, I was out there like running them over with my lawnmower, just hoping to mulch them.
Mulch does a good job.
It does, but I don't know what to do about that. If I had a tree, it'd be different.
I
If I had a
understand.
yard, and you can't burn in the roadway,
Right.
so I can't do that. So I'm just like at a loss. But I do wear white shoes, and we go out to our vehicles, and if they've been wet like they have, like how the leaves and the tannins and the leaves and all that, they're stay in my shoes and like.
The town has a problem, and it's been discussed before with previous town councils as far as that goes, or whatever, as far as that. I mean, if you can bag them, I mean, that would be nice, and then we could try and, we could take them out in the country and dump them, if that's what some of us do as far as that goes. Like other people have said, trying to mulch them. It is a problem, it's something I've seen some smaller leaf backs out there, I've been looking as far as that goes, and I mean, if the opportunity pops up, it would be nice if we could do something as far as that, because it's
even once a year, like we could have Rover come in at least like once a year and maybe do it.
A lot of people have asthma and breathing problems.
And
when
we
they
do
burn
at
it,
my
the smoke
house,
is
so
just-
yeah, our house is terrible with asthma. And so
Right.
I'm the only one who can do it. And
Those leaf vents are so expensive.
right.
Yeah.
But I did see some smaller ones this last weekend or whatever. I mean, I spent the whole last weekend mulching leaves, so I know what you're talking about as far as that goes. And, that's not even just across the street, so I understand.
But I have to do it off the road.
Right,
So
right.
I'm out there, people probably think I'm crazy out there mowing leaves and throwing my house on the roadway, like right on 19.
You're not the only one, I'm out there too.
Yeah.
So you have no trees and the leaves
I
come
have
to your
no
house.
trees.
You're like a leaf magnet.
I know, and they just blow, and then they swirl, and then, and I'm serious, it's probably like this deep. And like, I can't tell you how many feet wide, 3 vehicles wide. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, it's being looked at, and we have a lot of problems going on right now in town, we got a lot of things that need fixed, but that's one of the things that in the fall, that it would be nice.
The storm drain's right there, right next to us also, so when all those leaves form up, then the water can't drain down to the storm drain, so then my husband and I are out there trying to dig the leaves, a tunnel for the water to drain down to the storm drain, otherwise it starts flooding up onto our sidewalk, into the garage, so yes.
Where is your house?
Right
Is
there.
it possible
Right there.
on some town property or something in a corner or something to have a leaf drop? Place where we can make
that's
a
what I've
compost
seen.
pile?
I mean, we need to work together as a town as far as that goes, so I mean, if you can bag them up at least, or people can bag them up, I can get with Richard as far as, you know what I mean, if we just haul them off with the dump truck and take them out behind the sewer plant and dump them out behind the sewer plant, as far as that, I mean, we do have that option, you know what I mean, as far as that, we can't have a town employee doing the work as far as that goes, but he can stop by and pick up leaves if they are bagged up. I mean, I think that's an option
There's a
that we can.
recycling program the state has too, and I looked into it, there's so much red tape to it. It's,
Yeah.
So because of
It
the
might
city
be
of
funding.
Rochester, as long as there's like those brown bags.
Yeah.
My mom does it. My mom does the leaves in my house too, but because I don't have time. But she just puts them there, and then the city comes and as long as they're in the bag, then the city picks them up and then brings them out to wherever the city dump is, and they just put them in a pile and they compost them for whatever purposes later. They are used for different things, but they do collect them as long as they're in a nice. As long as the consumer puts them in a nice bag, and then.
Yeah, because trash bags wouldn't.
No.
No, it's like those nice, like it's like a brown paper bag. Is that like Meyer or like one of those farm stores?
Menards has a
Lowe's or Menards.
It's like meant for leaves, and it's
Paper.
paper.
Yeah.
It's paper. Yeah, it's like that's the main
Combustible and
purpose.
biodegradable.
Yes, those are the words that I'm trying to use.
I'm using
I haven't
that
had enough
word.
sleep today.
Right. But I think that's something that, I mean, we can start, this year's about over with, but maybe something that, next year, you know what I mean? Like I said, if people wanna collect them themselves and then get with the town and, you know, like, we can try and dispose of them properly without putting them in trash.
Or do like the truck I seen going down 30, loaded with leaves.
I've seen that
I
too.
drove down my road with to get them out of the back of my truck last week.
Right, right.
I live in the woods. I mean, it's just an old country road, but I need to get that stuff out of the back of the truck. Down the
Do
road.
not drive down Broadway.
I
No.
don't live in Etna Green. I just own property in Etna Green. That's why I'm here.
You drive down Broadway and I'll pile them up and bring them back to you.
No,
I mean, you might as well drive down.
But the
Broadway
mulching,
and just gather
the mulching of leaves though is actually beneficial to people's grass and yards too. So
And
if they
then-
can mulch them, that's better.
And then what the city does in Rochester, my mother fell for this trick. They mulched the leaves and then she purchased the mulch
Back
of
the
the
next
leaves.
spring, well, we're
Yeah.
still has
Back in
program
the
as
spring,
far as
she
Yeah.
the
purchased
same thing.
from the city of Rochester the mulch, which then made the city money, which then kind of covered the cost of the city employee picking them up, but she fell for it. So
Right.
she called the street department guy and said, hey, can I have some of that mulch of the leaves that she had bagged up that she put in there?
Yeah.
And she didn't even think about what she just did, but she spent, I don't even remember how much money to get it back to put on her garden then in the spring. So it was kind of like a wash for the city because she gave leaves, they were picked up, and then she purchased it back from them. And
I need to talk to your mom, I got some land in Florida.
she's a master
She
gardener.
looks like property in Arizona.
Alright, does anybody else have any town topics that they wanna discuss tonight as far as that? So I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Did you come for a night?
Aye. Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
Thank you.
I thought maybe you had something to say. So. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
I will.
Yes, may I have
Quick question, for the income survey,
For the.
what that's for,
Okay, what the town is doing is doing new income survey.
Oh, I got it ready.
Study.
Oh, okay, you go for Bob and Jim. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. So they were, Amy was talking about
And so,
No, that's
why is this funny?
Well, in order to get the grant, it has to see what the needs